Hello learners, welcome to lecture 45. In the previous session, we explored the role of NGO and civil society in reproductive and child health, highlighting how they complement government health services and empower communities. Today, we focus on capacity building for community health workers, often referred to as backbone of primary health systems. These workers serve as the bridge between the communities and the formal health services. In this lecture, we will explore why capacity building is essential, the methods used, the challenges faced, and future strategies to strengthen community health workers in advancing reproductive and child health. Community health workers are often the first point of contact for families seeking health advice or services. They bridge the gap between formal health systems and communities, especially in rural and underserved areas. However, to perform effectively, community health workers need training, supportive supervision, and resources. Capacity building ensures they have the knowledge, skills, and motivation to provide quality reproductive and child health services. Community health workers play multiple roles in reproductive and child health. They provide counseling on family planning and maternal health, educate families about nutrition and immunization, and identify high risk mothers and children. They also facilitate referrals to higher health facilities when complications arise. Their presence in communities builds trust and ensures health programs are accessible to even the most marginalized of the populations. Building on this, community health workers function using home visits, group meetings, and defaulter tracking to connect households and antenatal, intrapartum, and postnatal care as well as timely immunization. This highlights social capital and trust. Because community health workers share language and norms with clients, their counseling on contraception choice, birth preparedness, early breastfeeding, and complementary feeding is more credible and rights affirming. They operationalize risk screening and trigger two-way referral with feedback, aligning transport schemes and emergency pathways to comprehensive emergency obstetric and newborn care and special newborn care units. To close the design delivery gap, these workers need supportive supervision, steady supplies, and simple registers or digital tools that feed into health management information system. Equity is central. Community health workers prioritize first time, adolescent, migrant, and low caste or tribal families, schedule the outreach at convenient times, and use moral referring to reduce stigma around contraception and sexuality education. Performance should be tracked with smart indicators for RCH like more than 4 antenatal contacts or postnatal checkups within 48 hours or dropouts of DTP1 to DTP3 to be less than 10% or stockout days to be less than 2%. Proportion of high risk pregnancies escorted for referral paired with community scorecards and grievance channels. Finally, community health workers thrive in co-production with NGOs and primary level teams. Joint microplans, case reviews, and after action learning convert CHW presence into durable gains in maternal and child health survival, nutrition, and immunization coverage. Capacity building is critical for community health workers because it equips them with the skills and knowledge required to deliver effective care. Without adequate training, these workers may lack confidence or provide incomplete information. Capacity building improves service delivery, making these CHWs more reliable and credible sources of health advice. It also enhances their motivation, and well trained workers feel valued and empowered in their roles. Capacity building, it involves more than just initial training. It includes ongoing skill development, supportive supervision, and continuous learning opportunities. Regular refresher courses keep community health workers updated on program changes and new health practices. Supervision provides guidance, problem solving, and encouragement. Together, these components ensure community health workers remain effective in their roles. Taking a sociological and implementation science lens, effective capacity building is a system, not an event. Blend adult learning methods with mentorship, audit and feedback, and psychologically safe spaces where CHWs can surface constraints without fear. Supportive supervision differs from inspection. It uses joint field visits, structured checklists, and solution huddles to address stockouts, referral bottlenecks, and counseling challenges while modeling respectful, right based care. Continuous learning can be institutionalized via monthly peer learning circles, digital job aids, and case review conferences that connect these CHWs to nurses, medical officers, and supply chain teams, turning isolated workers into a problem solving network. Define smart indicators for capacity outcomes and link them to individualized coaching plans rather than punitive targets. Finally, they close the loop with quarterly after action review and public dashboards that share results with communities and CHWs themselves, reinforcing motivation, accountability, and the co production of quality across the reproductive and child health continuum. Training approaches for CHWs should be diverse. Classroom based sessions provide theoretical knowledge while practical demonstrations helps workers apply their skills in real situations. On the job training allows them to learn through experience and supervision. A blended approach ensures that these workers are not only knowledgeable but also competent in applying their learning in the field. Building on this, we can say that they combine short modular classroom inputs with skill labs that rehearse counseling on contraception choice, respectful maternity care, newborn danger signs, and immunization defaulted tracking. Translate theory into practice through supervised home visits and facility rotations. With mentor conducting structured observation and audit and feedback rather than punitive inspection. Institutionalize peer learning circles and micro teachings so these workers present cases, reflect on barriers, and co design solutions building collective efficacy and safeguarding. Add digital micro learning for drip feeding updates, reinforcing protocols, and capturing quick competency check. Assess competence, not just attendance, via OSCE style stations and require periodic recertification tied to coaching plans. Training for community health workers must cover a wide range of topics. These include maternal and newborn health, family planning methods, immunization schedules, and child health issues like diarrhea, pneumonia, malnutrition. The nutrition, hygiene, and sanitation are also critical areas. By equipping CHWs with comprehensive knowledge, training ensures they can respond to the multifaceted needs of families. Building counseling skills. Counseling is a vital role of community health workers. Building their counseling skills requires training in effective communication, empathy, and active listening. CHWs must be able to create trust, especially when addressing sensitive issues such as contraception or adolescent health. They also need strategies to address myths and misconceptions in culturally sensitive ways, ensuring accurate information reaches families. Job aids enhance community health workers' capacity by providing visual and interactive tools. Flip charts or pictorial guides are useful in low literacy settings. Mobile based applications can provide reminders, or data entry platforms, and instant access to health information. Community demonstration kits, such as models for showing breastfeeding techniques, make health education more practical and engaging. Supportive supervision is essential for sustaining community health workers' motivation and improving their performance. Supervisors should conduct regular field visits to observe and mentor CHWs, offering constructive feedback. Instead of punitive measures, supervision should focus on encouragement and problem solving. This builds confidence and helps these workers feel supported rather than isolated in their work. Framed sociologically, supportive supervision counters the risk of street level bureaucracy by creating psychological safety and a culture of learning rather than blame. Practically, supervisors use joint home visits, structured observation checklists, and brief audit and feedback huddles to troubleshoot stockouts, referral delays, or counseling barriers. Then document agreed actions with timelines. Mentorship should model respectful, right based care and reinforce equity, prioritizing adolescents, first time mothers, migrants, and low caste households in microplans. Blend in peer learning circles. So, community health workers share cases and solutions and pair feedback with access to supplies, transports, and job aids. Motivation erodes if accountability is not matched by resources. Track progress with smart indicators and review them monthly to celebrate gains and recalibrate coaching. Over time, supportive supervision weaves these community health workers into a problem solving network that converts individual efforts into reliable, community trusted reproductive and child health outcomes. Peer learning enhances capacity building by allowing these community health workers to share experiences, discuss challenges, and collectively develop solutions. Peer support groups create a sense of solidarity and reduce isolation. Regular meetings with community health workers exchange strategies and encourage one another strengthen both morale and effectiveness. Network of community health workers can also amplify their advocacy for better working conditions. Motivation is a crucial component of capacity building. Financial incentives, timely payment, and fair remuneration help sustain commitment. Recognition such as awards or public appreciation build pride in their work. Opportunities for career progression, such as moving into supervisory roles, provide long term motivation. Community participation and appreciation through respect and acknowledgement is equally powerful in sustaining community health workers' efforts. Technical competence is essential for community health workers. Training should prepare them to manage common childhood illnesses like diarrhea and pneumonia using standard guidelines. CHWs also support safe deliveries by assisting skilled birth attendants and monitoring danger signs. Tracking maternal health indicators like antenatal visits and anemia levels enables them to guide families towards appropriate care. Building on this, competence is defined by correct protocol aligned practice. They should apply integrated management of neonatal and childhood illnesses steps like assessing danger signs, counting respiratory rate, recognizing dehydration, etc. when authorized, and making urgent referrals for severe cases with two-way feedback. In maternal newborn care, they reinforce birth preparedness and complication readiness, respect privacy and consent, monitor reduced fetal movements, support immediate and exclusive breastfeeding, and accompany referrals for emergencies, always within defined scope under supervisory support. Trust and social capital is the key. Because community health workers share language and norms, their counseling or contraception choice, iron folic acid adherence, and newborn care is credible, stigma reducing, and rights affirming. Competence must be demonstrated, not assumed. use of OSC style skills check, joint field observations, and audit and feedback to close gaps revealed by routine data. Tracking of smart indicators tied to practice disaggregated by age, class, and geography to service inequities. Finally, link skills to systems, ensure steady supplies of substances like ORS, zinc, iron folic acid tablets, simple registers, or offline first apps that feed HMIS and supportive supervision. So, technical mastery at the doorstep reliably translates into timely care seeking and improved maternal and child health outcomes. Community health workers must be prepared to respond to emergencies. Training in obstetric emergencies, first aid, and newborn resuscitation enables them to stabilize patients until higher level care is available. These workers should also know how to arrange timely referral and transport. Capacity building in emergency preparedness can save lives by reducing delays in critical situations. Record keeping and data management are incredibly important skills for community health workers. Maintaining registers of maternal and child health indicators provides valuable information for planning. Digital tools such as mobile based apps simplify data entry and reporting. Training community health workers to ensure accuracy and timelessness strengthens health information systems and improves program monitoring. CHWs must be trained to recognize the social determinants affecting health outcomes. Poverty, gender inequities, and cultural practices shape reproductive and child health. Engaging families and communities helps address these barriers. Linking families to welfare schemes like nutrition support or transport subsidies enhances health outcomes and builds trust in the system. Linking families to welfare schemes like nutrition support or transport subsidies enhances health outcomes and builds trust in the system. Adolescent health is a critical area of community health workers. Training equips them to counsel adolescents on puberty, sexuality, and contraception in a confidential and sensitive manner. They also play a role in preventing early marriage and early pregnancies through education and advocacy. Attention to adolescent mental health helps address stress, depression, and peer pressure challenges. Capacity building should prepare community health workers to engage men and families in reproductive health. Male involvement in family planning and maternal care improves outcomes. Encouraging shared decision making reduces the burden on women and enhances gender equity. Community health workers must also be skilled at addressing cultural resistance, using respectful dialogue to shift attitudes. These workers often lead community mobilization efforts, training in organizing group discussions, facilitating health campaigns, and building collective accountability ensures they effectively engage communities. Mobilization around immunization days, safe motherhood, and nutrition programs demonstrate how these community health workers influence large scale community behavior. These workers activate collective efficacy and shift social norms by convening women's groups, youth clubs, and caregivers, using participatory tools to convert private concerns into shared actions. Applying diffusion of innovations and two-step flow. Community health workers seed early adopters and equip them with clear messages, myths versus fact sheets, and referral information to ripple behavior through networks. For campaigns, for example, immunization days, they co create micro plans that list hamlets, influencers, session sites, and defaulter list, arrange safe timings and transport, and ensure cold chain readiness so intent becomes access. Mobilization is rights based. Community health workers practice informed consent, protect privacy, and use moral reframing to reduce stigma and resistance. Collective accountability is operationalized via community scorecards, wall charts, and public commitments from local leaders, with timelines and resolving stockouts, disrespectful care, or abstinence. These workers close the loop by celebrating milestones and reporting back to groups, sustaining trust, motivation, and durable community wide behavior change. Community health workers often collaborate with NGOs and civil society, which provide training, resources, and supervision. NGOs introduce innovative tools and models that community health workers can adopt. Partnerships also allow these workers to collectively advocate for better incentives, recognition, and working conditions. Such collaboration strengthens both community health workers' capacity and program outcomes. Digital tools are increasingly used for capacity building. Online training modules allow these workers to learn flexibility. Mobile based refresher courses provide quick updates on protocols or health campaigns. Virtual supervision and mentoring create continuous support even in remote areas. These innovations expand access to training and reduce gaps in capacity building. Capacity building faces challenges such as shortage of skilled trainers and inadequate resources. Community health workers often carry heavy workloads, leaving little time for training. Limited incentives for participation reduce enthusiasm. Overcoming of these barriers requires creative scheduling, adequate funding, and recognition of these workers' critical contributions to health systems. Framed well, these constraints reflect street level bureaucracy and resource dependency. So, fixes must rebalance time, power, and material support, not just add modules. Solutions include strengthening training institutions to provide standardized, high quality programs. Flexible training schedules accommodate community health workers' workloads and family responsibilities. Build protected learning time into duty rosters and hold short on site micro sessions during low volume hours while rotating services so coverage is not disrupted. Use a cascade model, that is peer trainers plus roving mentors, to expand trainer capacity and embed audit and feedback huddles that solve real bottlenecks. Add blended micro learning. Offline first apps like IVR, WhatsApp quizzes to drip feed updates and track competencies between refreshers paired with travel or childcare reimbursements so participation is feasible and practical. Combine intrinsic and extrinsic incentives. CPD credits, badges, public recognition, small stipends tied to smart learning outcomes. Finally, institutionalize quarterly after action reviews with these CHWs, supervisors, and community representatives to adjust training plans, celebrate gains, and keep capacity building aligned with equitable, rights based service delivery. India's ASHA program is a strong case study. ASHAs receive structured training under National Rural Health Mission and are motivated through performance based incentives. Their work has significantly improved institutional deliveries, immunization coverage, and contraceptive use. The ASHA model highlights how capacity building coupled with motivation can transform community health outcomes. Ashas function as boundary spanners who convert social capital into service uptake, while the program itself blends capacity building plus supportive supervision plus incentives to overcome street level bottlenecks. Implementation principles matter. Modular training with skills labs, on the job mentoring, and audit and feedback huddles tighten the link between protocols and doorstep practice like birth preparedness, early breastfeeding, postnatal check within 48 hours, or defaulter tracking. Performance based payments are most effective when paired with timely reimbursements, travel or childcare support, and recognition, so accountability is matched by resources and dignity. Ethiopia's Health Extension Worker Program provides another example. Workers there receive structured training and career development pathways, ensuring professionalism. They deliver essential health packages including family planning, immunization, and safe water practices. Their strong community presence builds trust, making them central to Ethiopia's health success. Sociologically, health extension workers operate as boundary spanners, translating national policy into everyday practice through household visits, community dialogues, and facility linkages, an antidote to classic design delivery gap. Professionalism strengthens legitimacy and retention, while supportive supervision and audit and feedback convert guidelines into reliable routines. The platform's breadth, family planning, antenatal postnatal care, immunization, then IMNCI, sanitation, hygiene, creates network effects. One trusted visit can address multiple risks, reduce opportunity costs, and raise coverage equitably. Trust is further built through respectful, right based counseling and two-way referrals with feedback, aligning households to functional emergency, ONC, and newborn care when complications arise. For learning, these workers use peer circles, skill labs, and periodic recertifications, so competence is demonstrated, not assumed. Monitoring is essential to evaluate the impact of capacity building. Tracking the number of community health workers trained, assessing how well skills are retained, and measuring improvements in health outcomes are critical. These data demonstrate whether capacity building investments translate into real improvements in maternal and child health. Future directions include expanding digital learning platforms to reach CHWs in remote areas. Greater focus must be placed on community health workers' own mental health and well being, as they often face stress and burnout. Building leadership among community health workers ensures they take on supervisory roles and influence health policy, enhancing long term contributions. To summarize, capacity building is the backbone of community health workers' effectiveness. Training, supportive supervision, and motivation are central elements. Well trained community health workers improve maternal and child health outcomes, increase program coverage, and build community trust. Investing in capacity building in investing in stronger health systems. In conclusion, the capacity of community health workers determines the effectiveness of reproductive and child health programs. By strengthening their skills, providing support, and ensuring recognition, we create stronger health systems. Healthy communities begin with empowered community health workers who act as trusted agents of change. As we close, please reflect on the idea that every investment in community health workers' capacity is an investment in the future of communities. By equipping them with skills, support, and motivation, we ensure that health services are accessible, equitable, and sustainable. Capacity building empowers community health workers to transform lives, making reproductive and child health a shared reality. So, with this comment, we close for today. Thank you so much. Next time, we take up lecture number 46, which deals with innovative approaches in RCH service delivery. Thank you.